Welcome to Bedcrime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T. If you like all things true crime, if you like it delivered in a peaceful, tranquil manner, if you like it clear and concise without drama, then I highly recommend you subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please smash the like button. It's a free way you can help. And now, without further ado, let's dig in. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers has been missing for more than 3 months. His case has become a circus. It's hard to know who's searching for him, who's trying to profit off him, who cares anymore. Seth was on a show last night called Allegedly Brittney. I believe he went on there to defend himself because we all know now, at least anybody who's been following the case, knows that he sent out 6 cease and desist letters, which caused quite a hubbub. He's saying he only sent them to YouTubers in Tennessee. So I think he went on Allegedly Brittney to defend himself, and I want to talk about what he had to say. So let's get right to it.
Hey. Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Alright, listen, I promise you here, no one's going to disrespect.
I'm just going to make this quick. Because It's 11 o'clock at night. I've been busy all day. Hey, man, I got an early morning. I've got searchers coming in again next week. Got places to go. Got to get what little sleep I can.
I understand.
I sent out 6 and desist. These people are nasty.
Oh, they are?
And no parent of a missing child should ever have to sit there and listen to the people slander him and I've listened to people call my son a sexual offender. I've listened to people call me one.
If somebody called Sebastian an SO, then in my opinion, they deserve that cease and desist letter. He's 15, he's been SA'd, he's a victim, and if anybody dared to say that, then they deserve to be shut the F up. Don't victimize the victim. Don't shame the victim. I have a feeling I know where that was done, and those people are vile. I think a lot of people overreacted because they thought that Seth was telling all YouTubers to stop talking about Sebastian, stop showing his face, stop saying his name. But if we listen to him, I think he's trying to shut up certain creators, not all. Do all 6 people who received a cease and desist letter deserve one? Only Seth knows. I don't know. I don't know what went on among those people. I do know that some of them have been sharing Sebastian's story from the very beginning, and so it's painful to hear that they're getting told to be quiet. The problem is none of this looks good right now. A lot of people have become suspicious of Seth because he has, I guess, tried to make money on his YouTube channel by selling memberships, perhaps making it membership only. I think he took it down now. I'm not sure. I think people think he's trying to do a money grab. He says he needs money to search for Sebastian, to print flyers, to get billboards, to pay for experts. I don't think Seth Rogers has deep pockets all on his own. I do think he probably needs money for the search. I just think some people now are looking at him suspiciously and think that he's trying to profit off his son's disappearance.
People need to get off their high horse.
Agreed.
Because I'll tell you right now, I don't have to do anything and God will knock me down. But I send cease and desist to make sure that there is proof in the legal system that I am not connected to these people.
Okay. Yeah.
That way, I'm not sitting there and they can sit there and say whatever they want. Defamation is pretty easy when someone's sitting there for 6 hours on a live panel, letting people talk massive amounts of crap about me and accuse me of everything from putting a nail into Jesus Christ on a cross or pushing the red button for Biden, you know?
Yeah.
You say whatever you want about me, but when you start talking trash about my son, or you're using pictures of my son and stupid little things for clickbait because you guys want to make money, and when I say you all, I mean everybody who's out there. When my YouTube channel comes out and I sit there and I make people pay for a membership to listen to me give updates, I know that I'm going to receive nothing but negative attention about it. Nothing but negative attention, because Lord knows I'm the child's father. I need to make sure I have flyers. I need more yard signs. I need more materials and more resources, and there's not enough.
Absolutely.
There is not enough until my son comes home. People want to talk about me being at work. That's my personal life. Get over it. You're not going to find out if I'm at work or not. It's none of your business. I've had people infiltrate my home. I've had people sit there and literally lie and have conversations that you just wouldn't have with a person. Not if you actually had a soul. And have people come in afterwards and call me on a live chat, and I didn't even know I was live, and start asking me questions about stuff that I had no idea what was going on. That's pretty dirty. All right? And then sit there. I get phone calls from Sumner County and from TVI about everything that's going on. Well, they need to stay in their lane. Don't ask me what I have a civil attorney doing for me. All right? They need to be focused on investigating and finding me. But every time one of these creators open their mouth, and I say that term very loosely, because there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are not creators. All they are is, we'll take what this person did and we'll go over it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
And
right.
I'll tell you right now, I have no respect for them. I don't. But that's my personal opinion. And I don't care if somebody has respect for me or not. I'm looking for my son. And I said, I will dance with the devil and show the devil a few moves in order to find my son.
My fear with this is that Seth is going to alienate YouTubers and they're not going to want to cover the case. And until Sebastian is found, we have to keep saying his name. We have to keep putting his face out there. We have to keep pushing.
I'll do whatever I need to do within the limits of the law, because me going to jail doesn't help my son.
It's a relief to hear him say that, because I was worried when people said he wanted to purchase a firearm that he was ready to go and handle things himself.
Right.
But I will never stop looking for him. And anybody that wants to be an obstacle in my way, I feel sorry for them. Because karma's a bitch, and God will knock them down.
You're right about that. I want to clear something up with you while you're here.
And just so you know, I sent 6 people cease and desist. 6. Not 50. Okay. Yeah, 6. Not 50 like T-Rev is talking about. And I'll tell you what, anybody that's out here on a YouTube, whether they're a creator or whatever they want to classify themselves at, if they're literally out there spreading Sebastian's case in a positive light, not a negative light. There's enough negativity in this world. People say I start drama. Don't ask me questions that start drama. I'll give you an honest answer. You may not like the fact that I give an honest answer, and other people may not like the fact that I am brutally honest. But it'll even say in one of those declarations that Katie wrote in my divorce, that I tell people the truth. And I literally will sit there and state whether it has anything to do with it, and that always used to piss her off. She hated it when I talked about anything that was going on in the house. She was like, that's a random stranger. I've been like, well, I can't talk to you about it. I'm going to talk to a random person that doesn't know anything and bounce the ideas off of them, because they might have the answer. God may say, this is how you should answer this gentleman.
What we have here is a stressed out man. That is understandable. I mean, he does lash out, and it's too bad people can't kind of control him and keep him from doing that, because it does create problems for him. You know, Tricia of Web Sleuths brought up Mark Class and his situation with his daughter, Polly Class, and she pointed out that Mark would have done anything to find his daughter, and he didn't care what people said about him. You know, I don't know if he had YouTube attention at that time, but he wouldn't have cared. All he wanted to do, he was single focused on finding his daughter. Forget about PR people. Forget about it all. Just focus on finding Sebastian. If you need to raise money, do it. If people want to give, they can. If they don't want to give, they don't have to. If people criticize you, pay them no mind. You said karma's a biatch. So if you're doing the right thing for you, then you don't have to worry about that.
Give me the answer, because God works in mysterious ways.
I think it's interesting that Seth keeps mentioning God, because I thought Chris Proudfoot was telling him that he needed to go to church more often. Just an observation.
That crazy person is asking for change out there on the street corner. That person could have an answer. The first places that I hit were homeless encampments. I've been homeless before. Thank you to my ex-wife for making me homeless.
Katie and Chris are not going to like that. I don't know if that's true or not. I know that it is very expensive to hire divorce attorneys and argue for extended periods. Or is Seth alluding to the fact that he was the stay-at-home dad for a period and Katie was the breadwinner? And so when she asked for a divorce, perhaps he found himself without money to pay for lodging. I'm glad he talked about it because he explains why he had only partial custody.
Why didn't I get full custody? I was homeless, living in a vehicle. I praise God every day I got joint custody. Do you think I wanted full custody? Without a doubt. I should have my son living with me right now. But yet I'm still a suspect of my son's disappearance. You guys don't know what kind of effect that has on a person's psyche.
So clearly it is very much bothering Seth that the police seem to still think that he could possibly be a suspect. Personally, I don't see it, but of course I'm not an investigator. I don't have access to everything they do. But my understanding was that he has a rock-solid alibi. So why is he still a suspect? Is it just because everything is still on the table, everything is still a possibility, and the authorities don't want to rule anything out just yet? It could be as simple as that, so I don't think people should draw any conclusions about him continually saying that he's still a suspect. I think he knows he's not guilty, so he's not afraid to say that.
I'm getting phone calls from law enforcement about me sending out cease and desist from my attorney, who is doing her job because she wants to make sure that people in the legal system know that these people do not represent me, and therefore they have been sent a cease and desist.
So law enforcement did not want you to send out those letters?
No, law enforcement has called me about it because everybody's up in arms that I sent out a cease and desist. Some of these people live right there in Sumner County. 3 of them do. T-Rev lives there. Klumati lives there. And so does T-Rev's girlfriend. I'm not even going to speak her name. She ain't worth it. Whoa. All 3 of them live there. And you know what? T-Rev has never showed up for a search. Oh, he bought hot dogs and buns. Appreciate it, buddy. I didn't appreciate everything else you did, like taking a picture of me while I was in my recliner in my house. Stepping into my sanctuary and violating my sanctuary. Because not only did you violate my sanctuary, but this is also my son's sanctuary. I didn't appreciate that. Klumati showed up for, one search. Only one search. And she acted all nice and friendly. Introduced herself by her name, not by her, never once told me that she was a YouTuber, none of that sort of stuff. But I treated her like a regular researcher. Hi, thank you, I appreciate your help. And then she turns around and plays, I want to be number 6 on, CP's list of marriage or whatever you want to call it. People want to talk trash about me, but people want to look at me and tell me I'm trash and that I'm despicable because I have, an opinion? An attitude?
No, you don't deserve.
My son is missing.
Exactly.
Okay? Nobody who's never been in my position has the right to tell me anything. All right? Those that do have been in this position, I've spoken to. And I get different opinions from other people. And people want to, you need to get rid of this person on your team. No, I get rid of people that I watch their activities, I watch their actions, I listen to their words. And when actions and words don't meet up, something is wrong. I've always been a person that explains to my son that anybody can say anything, but your actions will speak louder to your word. What CP did to my son is horrific. My son cleans his room. Why? Because I use logic with him. Sebastian, you can't find this toy. You know why you can't find this toy? Because I had to come and clean up your room while you were gone. Now, if you clean up your room and you put the things back, when you come back in here, you will know where everything is because you've put it in its special spot.
Him clean it up and go take his things to the trash, right? Make him throw his
Hell no.
Yeah,
this might be seen kind of selfish, but I'm a parent. I'm on a limited income because I work for the county. All right? I make $50,000 a year. I work 12-hour shifts and I deal with murderers and inmates that I believe can change.
Absolutely.
All right? And I treat them like they're human beings. because I expect them to change. Are my sights set too high? Probably. But that's not for me to judge. I'm there to make sure they're safe while they're in jail before they go to prison. All right? I have a badge. I'm supposed to uphold that badge. I don't hide behind that badge. I am the representation of what the badge is supposed to be. Honor, integrity, courage, commitment.
I have to say that when I hear Seth talk about these things, I like him. I like what he's saying. You know, my brother was in prison, and a lot of those guards are not nice. A lot of them are unkind. So to hear somebody saying, I'm here to protect you, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, you know, it makes me like Seth Rogers. I vacillate. I hear him do these things, and people get all upset. I hear him do the FUs and things, and I don't like it. But when he starts talking about how he was raising his son, his work ethic, how he feels about the prisoners at work, I tend to like this person. I have trouble condemning him because he is the parent of a missing child, and I know that he cares, and I can see that he's trying to search for him. I have trouble condemning him for that.
Only I can do that. I've had inmates, oh, you hide behind the badge. No, I'm the same person when you see me at Walmart in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, grabbing a gallon of milk and orange juice to go home so that my son has milk and orange juice to drink. Pick him up, whatever he wants to cook for dinner, or whatever he wants me to cook for breakfast, so on and so forth. I work. When my son is here with me, I work with him so that everything in this house is his. He knows what is his. He has to have room to grow. You cannot sit there and keep somebody trapped in a cube and expect them to grow. That does not work.
Absolutely. 100%.
People want to give me grief for how I raised my son. Well, I am sorry. I didn't think I should take him out on the street corner and pick a fight with somebody and show him what a real beating was. Yes, did I tell my son I was going to bust his butt? Sure did. Did I use that exact verbiage? Probably not. Hello? I'm a first-time parent. It's a never-ending, everyday learn something new.
Yeah.
So I used a video game, which is better than watching an R-rated movie with a bunch of people being shot and having heads cut off, you know, things like that. No, I took a video game that we have played, and I put the blood mode on so you can actually see it, because before, there was none. I turned it off. He doesn't need to see all that. But yet I get criticized, and most of these people that criticize me don't even have kids. Never once said I was perfect, nor will I ever say I am perfect. Sebastian, my son, may think that I walk on water, and I never want to lose that. I never want to lose that, because that means I'm a zero. Have I failed my son?
What he said there, that last thing he said is, have I failed my son?
Oh, yes. I am my worst critique ever. None of these people out here saying anything can make me feel worse than I already am until they sit there and start talking about my son being a sexual offender. My son was with me all last on the Christmas break. Faith wasn't here. I saw that rumor going out there. Sebastian was with me before Faith even got here. So people need to shut that rumor up.
Okay, so we can shoot that rumor down. Sebastian was with Seth even before Faith arrived for the Christmas break. So apparently people have been saying that Chris Proudfoot sort of kicked Sebastian out because he was an SO. I do not believe that. Seth is saying that's not true. So I think that needs to disappear. I don't believe that Sebastian tried to do anything to Faith. What I could swear I remember Seth saying very early on was that perhaps Sebastian was acting out at school, perhaps in the bathroom, showing his what I call pineapple to the other boys to compare notes. And I think that was the result of his own essay. And I think that's why Seth wanted Sebastian to be in specialized therapy for victims of SA.
To make sure that that's not true.
That's missing.
That's right. And that should have never come out of anybody's mouth. And believe you me, here and in a lot of places I know, Seth, it won't be spoken, and we shut it down. That there's nothing to even.
But there are YouTubers out here that promote that stuff. They got cease and desist.
Listen, if my child were missing and somebody was making those types of accusations, you can bet I would send a cease and desist letter as well. And I've heard some of the vile crap on some of these channels. I know what Seth is referring to, and I don't blame him one iota for telling them to shut their gob, as they say in Scotland. I think that's what they say in Scotland. I heard it on Outlander. Shut your gob.
They're nasty and vile things.
Well, they have an agenda, right? They're playing up to Christopher Proudfoot. They wanted him on panel because they're getting the views from him being there because he acts like such an ass.
You know, we can all act like an ass. And there is nobody in this world that can't act like one. But what it comes down to is that he's not looking for Sebastian. His family's not looking for Sebastian. His own mother, Sebastian's own mother, is not looking for Sebastian.
It's insane. It's craziness. To get in the camper and go 3.5 hours away from your house with your child missing.
Well, come on. It's 3 hours and 37 minutes.
Thank you. How foolish of me. You're exactly right. That was pathetic.
You know, let's break this down because Lord help us, we may or may not get stuck behind a semi on Route 40.
Yeah.
You know, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid just because nothing is ever finite. Everything is infinite. There's no, it takes 3 minutes to do this. That's bullshit. You ask anybody. There's too many holes in their stories.
Okay, everything you heard in that last bit, I totally agree with. And I also agree that there are too many holes in their stories, meaning Chris and Katie Proudfoot's stories. So now we know exactly how Seth feels, and I'm right there with him.
I know where I was at, and it really upsets me that they haven't cleared me. They have literally pulled over a year of my phone records. They have taken all the electronics. Yeah, I want my son to have his stuff back. I want my son to be found and walk into his room and it be set up just like it was when he went missing, so that he can start readjusting back to life. Okay? Yeah. And if nobody has an autistic child, then they don't know what I'm talking about. But my son, when he came home, he would walk into his room and everything is left just like he picked it up and put it.
Yep, that's his comfort.
That's his sanctuary within our sanctuary. And what's funny is when he's at my house, he spends more time in the recliner than he does in his own room. Because he'd rather be out here in the living room where I am.
All I have to do is look at that one photo of Seth and Sebastian with Sebastian's head leaning on his father, and they are both beaming. You can see the authentic emotion there. They liked each other. They loved each other. They had each other's back. That's my opinion. Despite everything, I don't think that Seth could have envisioned Chris Proudfoot or Katie Proudfoot possibly doing something to lead to Sebastian's ultimate demise. I think it just didn't even occur to him.
Then in his room, like he is at his mom, Chris, he stays in his room there. Yeah. Here, he lives in my shitty 2-bedroom with a garage, 900 square foot place that I pay rent for. That my rent has increased since I moved here in October of 2020. My rent has gone from $700 to over $1,000, and I don't move because he is used to this.
Yeah. And I want to say,
I saw somebody criticize Seth's house on the mysterious disappearance of Sebastian Rogers' Facebook, and they said something like, why would Sebastian want to spend any time here at his father's house when he could stay at his mother's huge house? And that was really appalling to me. You could live in a hovel, and if that hovel is filled with love and the child feels safe and is safe, where do you think that kid's going to want to live? Where do you think that kid's going to see his sanctuary as being? Not in the big house where he's afraid with the mean Mr. Chris, allegedly. And personally, I didn't think Seth's house looked terrible. My goodness, what are we judging people on here? He's the father of a missing child and you're going to critique his house?
I'm tired of everybody saying, everything you say has something to do with money. No, what he's saying is he's willing to rip himself off by not finding something cheaper because he wants his child to have a home that he is safe and I have a child on the spectrum too, Seth, so I get what.
So you know how it is.
Yes,
change is constant, but if you can limit one little change,
yes,
then it does them so well.
Yes, and then when he comes home to you, he's home where everything's where you left it. For I understand, yes, more than you know, and I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I tell you, it grips my heart.
If I get my son back, I don't care. I'll go through even more. But I want my son. I want him found. I want him returned home to me. And all these people out here, I hope like hell you never have a child that have to go through anything resembling what I'm going through. Not even for 30 minutes. Been over 100 days. For me, it's been even longer. Because it's been 7 more days.
So sorry, Seth. So sorry.
And it's just, there's evil people out there. There's people that are, negative naysayers. Ones that just love to start drama. Well, you ask questions and I answer questions. And the questions you ask are meant to start drama. And I can't help that I answer questions. But if I don't answer the questions, I can't win for losing. And I'm not trying to win anything. I'm just trying to find my son.
He does sort of seem damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. And I do think he just wants to find his son. People need to cut this dude some slack. I mean, there by the grace of God go we. One of the women then asked Seth if he has been saying that he needs to be paid for interviews.
Can you clarify if that is true or not?
Nobody's giving me nothing for interviews.
There you go. Wow.
Now, I will say he did not answer the question. He didn't say yes or no. Have you been paid for interviews? Or have you been asking to be paid for interviews? All he said is, I haven't received any money for interviews.
I didn't even go to CrimeCon because I was out searching that day. I couldn't see myself going and being around people instead of not being out trying to find my kid. Yeah, there's probably been some really good resources for me there.
Oh, I'm sure.
But you know that most of those people that were there, except for some of the FBI agents, I have their phone numbers. I could call them.
Some people criticized Seth for not attending CrimeCon, but I think what he's saying is, number one, he wanted to search for his son instead of going there. He didn't see the value, perhaps, at first. But I've also heard him say that he doesn't like being around a lot of people, and I think it would have been uncomfortable for him to be there. And if he does have the phone numbers and he can contact most of those people, then it's understandable that he wouldn't put himself in a very stressful situation like that. I don't like big crowds. You know, we always have to try to put ourselves in these people's shoes instead of judging them cold without knowing them. We all have different perspectives. We all have different life experiences. One person might seize that opportunity to go to CrimeCon. Another might be terrified at the prospect of being around all those people, having people look at you, having people come up to you.
Because they've already reached out to me. I just didn't see the point of being there.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I'll tell you, you weren't even there and people were already losing their mind that you were. So it probably is a good thing that you didn't go. It's ridiculous. This is what YouTube is. It's nuts. And when you have grief, it makes me so mad.
For the longest, people have been drilling this into my head for, a couple months now. YouTube is social media. But when I opened up my first YouTube account back in the 2000s, it was to listen to music, people.
Yeah.
It was just watch music videos, do-it-yourself videos. There wasn't all this stuff that's on it now. So yeah, I never really classified this as social media. To me, MySpace, that was social media. A lot better than Facebook, because at least you had to know how to code. And I had a MySpace. I've had Facebook too, but it's just horrible.
Yeah.
It's been years. It's been years since I had a Facebook. I used my Facebook account to save videos of Sebastian in pictures.
You know, if he'd gone to CrimeCon, people would have said, oh, he's there partying and he's not looking for his son.
Because I had hard drives fried on me, and I lost pictures. And I was like, I need someplace digital. You know what? I can use my Facebook profile and just make it private, and nobody can see it.
Yeah.
And I saved pictures there. I've got pictures of me and Sebastian at the zoo. Videos of me and Sebastian at the zoo watching the piranhas eat because that's what he wanted to do. So we had to make sure that we were one of the first ones into the zoo. We had to make sure that we had gotten all the way over to the fish area in there before they fed them, because they fed them at the same time, every morning. And we were there to watch all of like 15 seconds of them devour this huge chunk of meat. And he was like, that was awesome. And I couldn't even get my phone up, which was one of these old flip phones, to record it fast enough before they devoured it. Yeah. And I was like, well, you want some pictures of you next to the piranha? It was like, sure.
He loved the piranhas. Bless his little heart.
And then off to watch the snakes, off to sit there and look at all the other animals, you know?
You get a real feeling for what Sebastian was like, having to be there at a certain time, having to watch the piranhas. Dad, we've got to get there now. We've got to get there early. And Seth wanting to make sure that Sebastian was happy. I cannot imagine Chris Proudfoot going to that degree to try to make Sebastian happy. Just my opinion.
An animal lover. He's always been. Yes, cats are his favorite. We had a bearded dragon when we were in California. This was her name. She was beautiful.
Oh, my
But when I wasn't allowed to have her, she died of scale rot. So did the next snake that Katie bought him. Animals in general. But when we lived because we lived in Spring Valley, California for years. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I had 2 dogs, and we had Goose. And my ex threw a fit because I got rid of the dogs. Well, Sebastian was taking one for a walk, and the dog took off after another dog and dragged my son down the sidewalk.
Oh, my goodness.
No, you're not going to hurt my kid.
Right.
I had 2 of them, all right? And I wanted to train them to be able to work with Sebastian. He's autistic, but when that happened, couldn't do it. It's like, and I gave them away to good homes. I didn't sell them or anything like that. I literally turned around and gave one to the guy that lived across from us, who had another place to live down in Mexico. And he took him out and took Abel out to a range. And Kane, I gave to one of the ladies at his school because she had just put her dog to sleep because her dog was old. And I was like, I tell you what, I've got a pity. You know, he was Stafford Razor Cross, gray, beautiful pups. All right, I'm like, they're a little over a year old. They're still puppies. And I was like, you can have him. And I gave 50 pounds of dog food to her and gave her, you know, Kane. Like, here you go. You know, and Sebastian didn't even realize the dogs were gone for 2 weeks. 2 weeks that they were gone, and then I finally took the doggy door out of the hallway. And he walked up and he was like, why'd you do that, Dad? The dogs are going to come eat my toys. And I looked down and I was like, son, you had one job, and that was to feed and water the dogs in the morning before I took you to school. When was the last time you fed and watered the dogs? And he was like, oh, I guess I should feed and water them. I was like, son, I already gave them away to new homes.
A couple things there. I don't think it's cruel for a parent to give dogs away if the parent is concerned that the dogs are going to hurt the child. I think it's the adult thing to do if you can't get the dogs trained fast enough. It's sort of an adult thing to do to put the child over the dog. It's interesting that Sebastian didn't notice that the dogs were gone for 2 weeks. But the one thing I will criticize is I don't think that you should remove the dogs without telling the child you're going to do it, because the child doesn't have a chance to say goodbye to the puppies. I know when my parents took our dog to put it down, I came home and I was looking for our dog. And I'm like, where's Snuffles? His name was Snuffles. He was a Cairn Terrier, just like Toto. He was so cute. And I loved him so much. He was old. But they took him. They didn't want me to be upset. They took him without telling me. And I came home and he wasn't there. I have never gotten over that. And my husband told me that his uncle, when the uncle's father died, they knew he was going to die. He was very ill. And the uncle was away at school. And he was young. He was like at a boarding school. My husband comes from kind of a blue blood type of family. And this uncle, he was like 15 or something. He came home and he's like, where's Dad? and Dad had died, and they didn't give him a chance to come home. And I really think that that had lifelong psychological effects on the uncle. But of course, that's a human being, not a dog. But you know what I'm saying. I'm going to summarize the rest of the interview because this is taking a long time and I'm getting restless and my derriere hurts. The hostess asked him, I don't know if that's the right word, the host? Okay, I will say the host. Asked Seth if Sebastian moving to his house was a punishment. Seth said that Sebastian once told him that he would rather live with his dad in a car than stay with his mother in her house. Per Seth, the only thing Sebastian felt he was being punished by was the online school. But according to Seth, he wasn't going to be doing it alone. He was going to have a comrade with him, another kid that he knew. I think he said it was his godmother's son. Seth said that Sebastian needed a year of online school. He needed to get specialized therapy because of the SA he suffered. Seth explained that Sebastian's godparents live in Clarksville, Tennessee, and that's why he, Seth, lives there. Seth said that sometimes it was hard to co-parent with Katie, but he didn't explain exactly why. Seth also said that he refused to continue certain punishments from the Proudfoot home over in his house, and we have heard him say that before. Apparently, people have been criticizing Seth for not continuing the punishment at his house, and Seth said, well, it depends on what he did wrong, and, he himself as the father would decide if he felt that the punishment needed to continue at his home. Seth made it sound like maybe Sebastian once laid his hands on a female teacher, might have hit her. Seth said about his weekends, that's my weekend with my son. It's not your weekend to control Sebastian. Seth also said that he told Katie when she divorced him that once she divorces him, he doesn't have to treat her the way he did when they were married, the way he treats his loved ones. He said, once you divorce me, you lose all that protection. He said to Katie, you violated your vow. It's pretty clear that Seth was not happy with the divorce. He was not happy with Katie initiating the divorce. Seth said that he said to Katie, you have trashed these vows because you took this oath in front of God and now you don't want to work with me anymore. He did say, however, that he would work with her when it comes to Sebastian.
Don't expect the same treatment from me that you got when I was married. People think I'm not over her. No, I still have good memories. I have a lot of good memories of me, Sebastian, and his mom. All right? I never focused on the negative ones. I know them. I lived through it. But I always been the one that goes for the positive memories. The times that we were fishing on the dock in South Georgia while we're sitting there and I've got a net over Sebastian's rocker because Sebastian's an infant and we're out there fishing at night with him. Okay? I still remember things that she probably doesn't like to remember. Like, I had a pickup truck. I was the only one that was working. We only had one vehicle. And it started raining. And I told her, listen, it's raining outside. We have a kid. You're going to have to ride in the back. You can't drive the stick shift.
Couldn't they maybe all try to fit in the front of the pickup truck? I remember sitting with my parents in the front of the pickup truck. Just squeeze in, put the child on her lap. Or maybe you can't do that with a car seat, though.
If you could drive the stick, I'll ride in the back. But she couldn't drive the standard. And it's like, I can't take Sebastian home and come back and pick you up. There's nobody at the house. I'm not leaving him. I mean, let's be, common sense here. One of us has to ride in the back.
I mean, that sounds a little harsh.
Right after that, she got online and she was like, I found us a new truck. All right, that's cool.
It's nice to hear a happy story from Seth and Katie's life together.
I still miss my little Toyota. I remember taking her to the DMV to get her driver's license for the first time. Okay? I didn't groom this lady.
I get so tired of that. Yeah, that's
This lady did not have the opportunities that children should have because of her father and the mistakes that her mother had made and the mistakes that her father made. She didn't get the opportunity. But as her husband, I was damned she's going to get these opportunities. I helped her buy her first car, sprayed my wrist, changing the brake pads on her first vehicle. People will make trash up because they're trashy people.
So that's an interesting point. Katie was essayed by her mother. There were problems in her childhood home. So she was out there before a lot of us probably would have left our home. And she was looking for a safe place. Maybe. I'm speculating. I don't know her personally. So the fact that there's an age difference between the two of them doesn't mean that he was grooming her. She was looking probably for a safe home, somebody safe to guide her. He took her in and tried to give her those experiences that parents typically give their children. First vehicle, get your driver's license. So it's a different way of looking at the situation rather than viewing Seth as a predator. You know, perhaps he was there to guide her in some ways. You know, I'm not defending any of this. I'm just saying it's a different way of looking at the situation. Seth said that there's a YouTubist. He says YouTubist, which I think is really cute. He said someone told him that they were making $20,000 off of his son. I got the feeling it was T-Rev. I find it hard to believe that you could make $20,000. I mean, my little videos, I can tell you, they don't generate anything like that. In fact, I could not live off of my YouTube salary. There's absolutely no way. Whoever that person was who said he or she was making 20 grand got a cease and desist letter. And by the way, Seth said that the YouTubist who's there in Tennessee is the person who asked him about handguns. And when that person said they were going to buy one that Seth recommended, a handgun that Seth has wanted for a long time and had been saving up for, Seth said, well, if this guy's got $20,000, then maybe you should get me one too. So I always say there's two sides to every story, sometimes even more sides. So this is Seth's side of the story, and we're going to have to decide who we believe. And sometimes the truth is somewhere in between the two sides' stories. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not one or the other. It's somewhere in the middle.
$2,500. I've been saving up for 4 months before my son went missing to get it. Do you think I have that money now? No. I spent that money in doing other things. Right. Dude, did I want it? I sure did. That was going to be a birthday present from me to me. Now I just notified my son.
Brag to you about making that money?
Yes.
Oh, God. I can't with that. Crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. That right there is awful.
It's like you are such a piece of shit, and to think that I come onto your thing and I think that you have my back and I tell you to be safe while you're out there doing what you're doing in other states, because I've been taken advantage of by YouTubers, content creators, more like copy clickers, because they just want to take interviews and dissect them. Oh, did you see how his eyeball twitched? Oh, he keeps his hand up above. I've got nerve damage in my right arm, and I can't even make it into an MRI. I've been waiting for over a month, close to 2, for an MRI. All right? Yeah. There's days that I cannot pull myself out of my bed.
I'm gonna end it there. My derriere hurts. I've been sitting here doing this for quite some time. I hope you have an excellent rest of your day, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories. Like, share, subscribe. See ya.